let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about some motivation, we're going to talk about some meditation, we're going to talk about some inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Get ourselves into that mentality, get into that place where you're utilizing what you have inside. What are the challenges that you're facing off against? And how do you utilize what you got? So every day we talk about this. Every day we get down with the challenges that we're facing off against. We start to ask those kinds of questions. And so how do you face off against challenges? I'd like to get out there. I'd like some comments here. And I'd like to start to see what you guys are actually struggling with and how we can start utilizing this kind of mentality. The question that I asked myself every single day when I was sleeping in my van is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? If it's not one of the three, what is it? So when we're sitting inside of a time inside of ourselves, when we're facing off against challenges, sometimes we want to compare our challenges to other people's. And it's when we're not comparing our challenges to other people that we have the ability to work on them. So what are the challenges that you're working on? And I ask this question every single day. And as I said yesterday, I was working with the storms that we face off against inside of ourselves. Okay, so what is it that you want to achieve this year? What is it that you want to overcome? And how can you stop comparing yourself to other people and start getting inside of you and start to get to the place where you start to become focused? So today I want to talk about how we can achieve a higher level of success and how we can start to get through our challenges. See, a lot of us don't give ourselves that kind of a place. We don't give ourselves that kind of ability where we start to focus into the challenges that we're truly facing off against. And a lot of times we feel stuck in positions or situations and in life where we have to seek it out inside of ourselves, okay? Where what we're facing off against comes from within. And, every single day I do these videos, I see people and I see the comments, and I really enjoy the comments that I'm getting here on Periscope. So all those self-help books are counterproductive. Actually, no, there are some books out there that are actually will start moving you in that direction. I can give you an example here. I have a book that talks about happiness in the home. And so if you want happiness in your home, you can use things like the Happiness Project, okay, to start to be able to inspire you or start to motivate you. And so, like, I have other books on meditation, and every single day the things that I enjoy to do is motivation, meditation, and inspiration. So it just depends if you're using the stuff that you have in your way and how you're utilizing your ability to focus. And a lot of us get it twisted, because when we go to a position, when we go to get a job, there's a little part that's called a paycheck, okay? There's a part that, there's a part there always that's going to be sales. It's always going to be, if you want this position, this is what it's going to be. If you buy, sell things, if you put yourself in a mentality where you believe in your vibration, then you have the ability to overcome it. Oh, that's awesome. My WordPress just hit 200 posts. So I've posted over 200 posts on motivation, meditation, and inspiration. And so every single day that I'm there and that I'm grinding and that I'm putting in the time, or that you're punching in the clock, it's always to improve yourself. It's always to improve your ability to overcome your challenges and to go through the things that you're going through. And that's what, hey, what's going on? And so how do we utilize our mentality? How do we put ourselves in a place? Yeah, for sure. I definitely do energy readings, and we're talking about positivity. We're talking about the ability to get down with our focus inside of ourselves. And so, yeah. All right. I guess I got a caller calling in here. Just
Thank you so
positive.
much. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, blessings. How are you doing?
Blessings. I'm fine. I'm fine. I commented in the comments. Yeah. So yeah, how's your day?
It's really I enjoy it because I get on here every single day and I put out these, and my WordPress just hit 200 posts, so
Oh
kind of
wow.
cool. So I actually work on multiple networks from Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram. I have my podcasts. So
That's awesome. That's amazing. You know, the crazy part is that your guides pull me in here, so because I can see and talk to them, they
uh-huh.
just said come in. So I just decided to join and just, listen to what you had to say.
Sure. So, one of the things that I do is energy readings, and I actually read energy. A lot of people like to call them aura readings, but that's just a piece of cake to sell somebody their orange. Has a
Mm-hmm.
lot more to do with what's going on inside of them. I used to go inside the sauna. I did 3.5 years of telesales, 2.5 years of car sales, and 5 years of driving people, 15,000 customers pretty much. And then I decided I wanted to help people. So I
Mm-hmm.
came from California to Arizona. I sat down, I started doing energy readings, and one day I did 7 energy readings. And as I did them, people were like, wow, you're dead on. Well, the thing is, I was already doing that inside the sauna. I'd already bypassed time, gone through challenges, came out here, started working with a girl with stage 4 metastasized cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tattoo on my shoulder from actually going and doing buffo and cambo with her. So um, it was pretty cool. She passed. She
I'm
chose her
so
last day on
sorry
the
to
face of the
hear.
planet. Huh?
I'm so sorry to hear.
No, it's a great thing. See, the thing is that in the community and in the type of things that I'm into, the meditation that I do, uh, yogis, real yoga, and I'm not talking about this little fake stuff. I'm talking about stopping your headaches. I'm talking about getting to the point where you find out what's shaking on inside of you, actually going through challenges, communicating them out, using focus and knowledge and your own discipline to overcome your challenges, that type of stuff. And
Yeah,
so
and God does exist. Yeah, He does.
so that's
He
what
just.
happened though. She chose the last day of life on the planet for herself. See?
Mm-hmm.
And so yogis have that ability, but it's yogis are not just a certification. You can give anybody a certification. It's a person who's willing to be themselves to the point where all they are is them. When
So yogis are just people that do what, meditation through yoga?
see, yoga is an eight part of of 8 limbs of yoga. The head is is what it's about. So your mentality, the energy that flows inside of your body, and how you utilize it. So we all utilize it in the day. The true yogi is the one who can face off against challenges and focus through the challenges and overcome them. Like, for instance, my first test was at 21. Both of my
Mm-hmm.
feet gave out on me. I had dual plantar fasciitis. I was pushing carts at Walmart, unloading trucks for 8 hours a day, and both of my feet gave out. I couldn't run for 2 years. My feet
Wow.
collapsed. And so it took me almost 2 to 3 years to be able to run again. Okay, that
Okay,
was
I'm
number
so sorry
one.
to hear.
No, I'm right. I can run 6+ miles. I've done it before.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
The
Because I
second
couldn't
one
run that long.
was at 25. I was working for a cemetery, and we had a part-time guy. He popped the clutch when we were going. I was going to get the jumper cables out. I took the full force of the grill to my arm, which took 21 physical therapy visits. Okay, they said I was gonna have to surgery, right? And then the last one that I went through was I was driving to San Diego at 10 miles an hour. And a guy hit the
Yeah.
side of the car, displaced both of my hips through a vertebrae where the belly button is out of place, and elongated my neck. I walked into a chiropractor's office,
Mhm.
and they told me I never seen somebody with a back as destroyed as yours. 17 chiropractic visits later, I was in San Diego running from on Pacific Beach from one side to the other of the jetty, 6 miles just about, doing meditation, yoga, and body surfing.
Oh wow.
So yogis are not a certification. It's a mentality, it's an ability to overcome the things that you're going through, utilizing the whole entire being, and meditation being the practice of self breath and self understanding.
Okay. Wow.
So a lot of people get stuck on the emotion, And if I had not used what a lot of people call Kundalini, which is
Oh, I know Kundalini.
the difference between Kundalini and Qigong is Kundalini is a process to Qigong. It's a progression that one travels through to get to Qigong. It doesn't work the other way around. You first start working with your emotions. I've been doing meditation since I was 27 and I'm 35. So I've been at this thing for quite a few years. And in the progression itself, the most important piece is to be able to sit down and use the skills that we have. You see, it's never about what you don't have. It's what you do have inside of yourself. So that's why a yogi is not just a certification. It's a mentality.
Okay, gotcha. So it's more like just putting yourself in a different mind space, basically, with a different perspective, perhaps like a different lens.
Um, Actually, that's pretty spot on, because if you pull up the definition online of focus, you will find that it's a lens.
Okay.
So it's actually very spot on there, because the thing that we find is that universal law overtakes the main structure of what is actually happening, where people's mentalities are becoming disabled. Like, for instance, look at somebody who has done amazing things that other people in society consider disabled, right? And so if you see it as a word, then all of a sudden you're stuck to the word.
Okay.
If you see it as positive and negative forces, then you have the ability for it to no longer be called a disability.
And I find it so interesting you've been doing meditation for so long. Me, being a Jamaican boy, right? In Jamaica, let me tell you something about me. I didn't know anything about divination until the age of 20 years old. I'm 22 now. So I never knew what readings were, never knew what tarot cards were, never knew anything about that. God warned me about it because, let me tell you something about me. I was born November 15, right? Yeah, I'm a Jamaican too. And my little sister, God made my little sister come May the 15th. I don't know how much you pay attention to zodiac or astrology. I didn't really pay much attention to it either. But in the zodiac, I'm a Scorpio and she's a Taurus. And considering she came May the 15th and I'm November 15th, she's the exact opposite of me because she's a Taurus. And that's how they put it in the zodiac. Scorpios and Tauruses are the opposites. You want to know my birth time? 305. When you multiply 5 times 3, what do you get?
5 times 3 is 15.
Exactly. You want to know my lucky numbers? Excuse me.
Let's go back for a second. Let's rewind this, okay? So I am biblical, but I'm biblical from a different sense, okay? But let me go ahead and explain to you what I mean by this. Okay? When I came to Arizona, I started working with a girl with stage 4 metastasized cancer, whose kids were taken away from her by her family because she moved out here, and the guy that she was with, who was supposed to be Christian, ended up becoming a druggie and getting her kids taken from her for being with him.
Wow.
Okay? And so as she's sitting here with self-inflicted cancer, she's explaining to me that what is happening is that she's being told that her family, that this is a good thing that they take it, her kids from her. Well, inside of herself, she didn't truly feel like that was a good thing, okay? So I started to research about this stuff, and I started reading like the first couple scriptures, the first couple chapters in the Bible, and came across a quote. It says that God saw that light was good and divided the light from the dark. Right? So those two were divided. But the key part here is that divided the light from the dark and then saw that it was good. Okay. So this means that before the decision that it was good came, light and dark already existed.
Yeah, they were just already there. Just
So
like water was already there,
when
waiting.
that's exactly it. So what's happened is society has decided to put these words of good and bad in place of choice. So what was going on inside of her was that she wasn't freeing herself from that
Bless
good
up,
and
bless
bad.
up. Understood.
So that
And it's
means,
interesting because you know what I wanted to say?
huh?
Things like, you know, I don't like to speak on the sacredness of, people's passing because it's a very sacred thing. I wanted to hear your perspective as well. Because anytime you hear me cough, it's my guides like putting their hands in my throat to block me. And they like to do that sometimes because they don't want for me to reveal anything.
Okay,
What
so
happened is,
let's go ahead and break this down for a minute.
hmm
Put me in a sauna for 5 hours, I'll live. Put 80% of the other people in a sauna, they're gonna die. Okay?
you have supernatural, what's it called? It's not supernatural healing. It's like supernatural vitality. Yeah, I guess I would use that word.
So these people come in there with me and they expect to last an hour and they end up leaving in an hour. They end up trying to
Oh
get to two
wow.
hours, they walk out. Okay? So what I'm saying right now is that the things that
It
I'm
affects
working
your
with
mental health, you know.
on the inside are greater than what goes on the outside. So what it made me
Mhm.
realize is that we all live in a tunnel. Okay? And this tunnel is our journey itself. At the end of the tunnel, there's light. Now, some people get stuck on the pains, the fears, the emotions, the whatever, stuck in that dark tunnel. They might feel it, you know, and in a certain part of yourself, you got to get to the page where you let everything that is not you go.
Mhm.
Okay? When you do that, people do not see you. They think you've changed. There's no such thing as change. You are always going to think your thoughts. You are always going to be who you are in your head, and you're always going to have your challenges. What's going to
I
happen
mean,
is you're going to become positive, or you're going to make choices that are drawing you closer towards Newton's third law. For each action, there is an
there's
equal
a reaction.
and opposite reaction. So if we see that equal and opposite as positive and negative forces in the universe, both positive and negative forces are a part
They work together.
of energy. So on a certain point inside, those are the only things that truly exist. So,
Can I ask you a question?
uh-huh.
Okay, when you said you don't rewind to this part, change does occur, you know.
No,
I
it
could tell you
change
this.
only occurs around you. You are
I
always
can
going to
tell you
be
this about me. It's like there's something about memory. Memory holds a very strong.
there's three
Memory has a very
processes:
strong hold on you.
focus, knowledge, and discipline. Each of
If
those
you can't
parts of you.
remember how you were, if you know some people that lose their memories completely, they change completely. So
I
change
could
does
tell you
happen.
something though. Check this out. Through
Mhm.
meditation, you can find the first seed of the knowledge. So, in that first seed of each knowledge, you learned that. And so, meditation is likened to a flower. Okay? Einstein
Mhm.
stated that there is such thing as mass and energy is interchangeable. This is known as the theory of relativity. So, what helped me to be able to walk again after getting in an accident was actually finding the breath inside that caused the accident, caused the damage inside of myself, and re experiencing that knowledge which is bedded inside. So, the three things that are we are a part of a process of focus, knowledge, being us as the discipline, the classroom. And it's quite interesting that we have an ingoing breath and we have an outgoing breath. See, that ingoing breath is like a student going inside the classroom. That center is us, and the outgoing breath is the teacher inside, extracting the knowledge on the side of actually heating it up.
Mhm.
And so, what happens in all of us is that we're focusing. So, the first time you learn something is a part of a process of learning it. And then from within, we're tested with the outgoing breath. So what I'm saying is that when you go into the tunnel, those things that are not meant for you decompress. And as they decompress, the knowledge gets heated up by focusing past pains, fear, emotions, because we have mentality that's on a fight, flight, slavery, emotion, time, organization, and then eventually, if we focus, we can access that knowledge inside. So that's why I said that Kundalini and Qigong are a part of progression within yourself, because I have sat down with people to do meditation, and I have seen them lost in that tunnel. I have had to use Qigong to help them find their own way inside of themselves. But I've also seen people that have had emotions, and I've seen people retrieve their memories and their experiences through scientifically provable, which Einstein stated mass and energy are interchangeable. So with the breath, finding that page is the reason why I can walk today.
Okay. Well, I can say this though, there has been a change in my character because, what I could say is change does not just happen around, it does happen within because, at the same time, look at simple things like, let's say one moment you were very stubborn, you can remember that 5 years ago, you were a very stubborn person. That means you did change because you're no longer that stubborn.
See,
So
here's the thing. You are always going to be you on the inside.
You can still progress into being an evolved form of
and
you.
That
is change.
That is what other people are seeing on the outside. What you're gaining is the understanding of the knowledge, because every single relation that you have in your day, your week, even in your being, your whole life journey, is learning. It's gaining access to that knowledge.
It does change you depending, because when you have a different perspective,
hear this.
Change as well.
Your mind, it relates to the things that are happening around you. And then
Andrea?
It relates to the things that are happening around you. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. When you walk and you hit a curb, that first time you hit a curb is now related to every single step that you take up a curb. So once you've gained the knowledge, once you gain that knowledge inside, what's happening is that you've decided that it's a positive or a negative thing happening. This relates exactly down to your breath itself, your inwards breath and your outwards breath. And so when you gain that knowledge inside, what happens is you're always going to have that knowledge inside of you. It's just a lot of people forget where that first piece of knowledge comes from.
Okay.
So,
but at the same time, continue.
So the only thing that we do is we choose that things are positive or negative in our lives. That does not mean... Do you
believe in predetermination?
There's quite a few different things that I believe in. One is that we are in a matrix.
Oh yeah, everybody's in the matrix. Not everybody, some. Not everyone. That's how things can be perceived, like it's a simulation.
Every single person is a part of the matrix. So when we're in a matrix, because we are all a part of this huge universal vibration. We are all part of it. When it comes down to meditation, what we're looking at is energy inside of oneself that's, I'm not the biggest scientific person, but we're all part of this massive vibration of the light spectrum. So what ends up happening though is that as a part of this thing, and that's why I came across this thing, and I was doing energy readings for people, and as I'm doing energy readings, I came across this thing called the Akashic Records, which means that they
records that are accessed when you use your gift. That's what people realize. Well, the funny thing is there is misinformation on the internet about the Akashic Records. People believe that when they excuse me, when they use their gifts and they tap into energy and they trace back people's past lives or information about them, so on and so forth, that they're automatically accessing Akashic records. There are things that I know that are
Let
very
me say
sacred.
this. I use the Akashi records. I didn't even realize it until I started to help people out. Okay? I wasn't trying to chase down Akashi records. I wasn't trying to do that. Okay? All I was trying to do in the beginning of learning meditation was get to the place where I could turn the feature on that blushes. So when I was working for Chrysler, I could elevate to the point where other people were actually able to see me blush. So that was the beginning of that. When I started speaking to people, 100,000 plus people that I've spoken to in the last 7 years, I came to realization that the knowledge was just, it already existed. So that's when I came across the Akashi record, was when I was like, okay, I'm using it.
In this new age and day, I wanted to ask you one question. Have you witnessed angel numbers? Because they mentioned 222 is the number that you should be seeing in 12. Like, you should be seeing 1 and 2 together. 111, 11, so on and so forth, right? What they mentioned to me, your guys, because your guys are who spoke to me to come in. The funny thing is, when you access the Akashic records, it's not for humans to tap into, even though, you know, as you mentioned, you did not chase or anything, but they just wanted for you to know. Overall, sometimes the guides can be deceiving. So what they do is they guide you sometimes and they test you. You see, just like how God would put tests in your life.
Let me explain something. When I do energy readings, the accuracy and the precision that I do energy readings at is so high that people start asking me, how do you know this information? And what I explain, what I explain to people is that these records, I was doing it before I even knew what the word Akashi was. So what I'm saying is I'm not chasing after that. I already have my journey. Not only do I have my journey, the thing that I am actually doing, the meditation, motivation, inspiration that isn't just coming from today, this week, this year, this thing that kept me alive right here, this, okay, this thing kept me alive. And when I started to want to help people out with meditation, I realized this isn't even just my life. Okay, I have almost as many generations as the people in India backing me up ancestrally and what I'm doing.
You want to know something that I wanted to ask you, because I can see people's past lives. I'm not supposed to be looking into, but if your guides wanted me to say something, they wanted me to ask you a question. If I were to ask you if you had a past life, what would your answer be?
So the way that I view this thing is an expansion. Now, the thing that has been a part of focus is this year has been a year of understanding. Okay? And it's kind of interesting because I'm headed into year almost 9 of this path. And what I've come to understand is that we are here to expand. Until we go through all of our karmic cycles and we start to achieve the ability to overcome those karmic cycles, they will continue to happen until you face off against your karmic cycles. So, understanding energy inside is understanding that we are a part of that process, and that our beings are actually the part in that human being, that actual being part, that part being, it means to be present inside of yourself, to be inside of you. And when we start to look at how people are progressing through their life cycle, when we progress through our life cycle, there comes a point when the life is ready to progress past this vibration. Until then, we continue through that cycle until we reach that page. So it's not necessarily about a physicality of living somebody else's life, but is your energy passing through the cycles to where you're ready for that exaltation?
Okay, gotcha. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna come back in a minute.
So it's actually like a lot of people biblically, they say that you die. So this physical shell gets shed. Well, what if that isn't really considered death? What if that is just a word that we're using? What if this thing being shed is a part of the process of something greater? What is it? What about the day when you resurrect? And so, as we study that, and answering and getting closer to the question that I was asked here, we start to notice that what is inside is what really matters. And when you connect yourself to your breath or to your vibration, the ability to utilize this energy that exists inside of every single human being on the face of the planet helps you to work through the understanding. And it's gaining access to the knowledge that we actually have inside of ourselves that allows us to face off against the challenges that we do on a daily. Because a lot of the challenges we each face off against, they're decompressed knowledge. Okay, if you gain, but a lot of people don't see that knowledge inside because they get trapped on the emotion. They get stopped before it becomes possible to find that first seed of knowledge inside of themselves. And it's when we overcome pain, emotion, and fears that we realize that we live in a beautiful world. And a lot of people try to throw that at a biblical sense, that they want somebody else to save them from being them. And then we forget about our own pasts and our own journeys. So our journey is a blessing. In fact, I don't even really use the word thank you anymore, because I want to leave people with the understanding of the process is that we are already a blessing and that we can leave blessings for each other. So how do we start to center that? We becoming that being within, becoming that person that we are, and facing off against what other people would not understand and what other people are not going through themselves. And that's where understanding comes in. It comes from within ourselves. And so that's where energy starts to have a purpose, okay? It has a purpose in our ability within ourselves to start to see that you're worth it. To start to see that what you have inside is worth overcoming. And when we start doing that, when we start doing that self-work, it comes at a part where it frees you. And it's that freeing inside of ourself that really matters the most. It's believing in you and believing in your abilities inside of who you are that frees you to be who you are. And it's with that place inside of ourselves that I came to a realization that we do continue on this cycle until we overcome those challenges. And the cycle itself keeps putting itself in front of you until you're willing to understand yourself. And when we center ourselves, when we become that student and we become that teacher inside of who we are, it opens us up to seeing the light inside of ourselves. Okay, and a lot of people, they look at it in a way in which other people will say it's inner light. All of us already have it inside of ourselves. It's when we start accessing that part inside of who we are. And you all have that capability inside of yourselves to find that place. And to find that ability. Do you? Is the question that we should be asking ourselves. And when it's utilized to help other people, your knowledge starts to be your gifts. It starts to open you up to your path, to your journey, to your purpose within yourselves. And so as you're going through these cycles in life and as you're facing off against these things, your energy inside, it starts to expand. And it starts to open you up to the person that you ultimately want to become. And sometimes we get these aha moments where it's just like a light bulb goes off in our heads, and it's like, okay, so I get it. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see the ability inside of oneself, and you're always going along that journey. It is every path, every step, every breath that you take is a part of that journey. And in that journey, you are always going to be you. That is the reason why I said we don't change. Because who we are is always going to be. If you choose that something is a positive or a negative, you are still you. It does not change that mere fact that you are still yourself. See, when you start choosing a whole bunch of things in a positive direction, that's still you choosing a whole bunch of things in a positive direction. And so when we see that start happening and we start facing off against those cycles themselves, then it starts to move in that direction. And as we are going through it, we will face off against things that are going to look like a negative until we see it moving us towards positive directions. And the interesting thing in the universe is that those things that aren't meant for you have the ability to move out of their way on their own. And that is a huge part there. Appreciating your positive and your negative challenges that you're facing off against and having the ability to embrace that part of yourselves. it's not when everything is happening there for you. It's when you have nothing and you're still being yourself. You hearing what I'm saying? And it's just like simple as this. It's positive and negative forces. Are you seeing that even that negative thing is bringing you in a positive direction? See, it's not that you won't necessarily face off against things. Is giving the ability for the process to have the ability to happen, that your mentality starts to see even in negative places positive things start happening in your ability. And so let's go ahead and start talking about discipline. Okay, when we use focus and we use knowledge, it's okay. When we use focus and we use knowledge within ourselves.
Hey, I'm back. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the long wait.
It's okay. And we're talking about inspiration right now.
Oh,
okay. Okay, so focus and knowledge inside of oneself connect. Like focus is your inwards breath. Knowledge is your outwards breath. You are centered. This thing that you are, it's a discipline. This thing that you are, you always be that place, you always be you. So how can you use this thing to be able to reflect outwards that it will uplift other people? How can we use this thing that we have inside of ourselves in such a way that we will create a more beautiful world for others to be a part of? And it's when you're using your focus and your knowledge together, when you're connecting your being on such a level that you uplift other people, that they start to see a reflection. And that reflection is you on your journey that uplifts other people. So when you apply your focus and your knowledge, and think about it this way. Bruce Lee once said, to throw a punch, you got to put your whole self into it. A lot of people say, okay, put that punch. See, when you learn meditation, you learn that there's an inhale and an exhale, and there's a center, which is you. And so in martial arts, which I'm not a martial artist, but I do know that they have a thing called the back punch. Okay? It's where you punch so hard that the back is stronger than the frontwards punch. And when we gain that kind of energy, we end up utilizing our whole entire being. Now that can draw a place of inspiration. That even your back punch can be so powerful that it will uplift other people. That your focus and your knowledge can become centered inside of yourself, that your whole entire being can vibrate, that it can leave ripples so much that even becoming a part of that process leaves ripples. Now, when you're willing to do that, when you're willing to radiate with that kind of part of yourself, then you're using the third part about what I talk about every day, which is reflecting from your discipline with your whole being, that other people might be inspired to be themselves. And when we're utilizing that part of ourselves, then our paths, our journey, our purpose is worth it. Because we have seen people across the face of the planet that do so. And they become the best in their professions, the best in their fields, that they literally, their back punch becomes so powerful that it inspires others. And when we're inspiring other people, we have the ability to be used as an inspiration. The universe has the ability to yield, has the ability to uplift you, has the ability to uplift other people and make other people's days lighter. Keep in mind, it's not just a forwards, it's a backwards ripple that we're putting out there. When we connect our focus and our knowledge, when we're utilizing what we have on the inside, when it starts to radiate outwards from within who we are, when it starts to use the person inside, the ability inside of oneself, the understanding that not only you are on this path, but by what you do, with the things that you do, the abilities that you have inside of yourself, you leave ripples. And see, we still have people going to visit Bruce Lee years later, decades later, because of his mentality, because of his ability from understanding his process, his journey. And we each have that ability to answer that question. Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And are we utilizing it in such a way that we make a much more beautiful world for all of us to live in? See, when I was driving people, I wasn't just wanting it for myself, I was wanting it for you. I was wanting for you to be uplifted. I was wanting for you to start to want to care, to be a part of who you are. And I've come to a point inside where what matters is positive and negative forces within the universe, and light and darkness. And biblically looking at how the light was divided from the dark, and how before the choice was made, we are all blessings on the face of this planet. When we're inspired to be that whole entire thing, when we're able to use our focus and our knowledge at a level where others might stop. Okay, think about something that you know that somebody else doesn't know. Then you share that something with somebody else. Okay, now they gain that knowledge from focusing to learn that from you, to get inside of themselves. And when we do that, when we get to that place inside of who we are, where we truly are who we are on the inside, then nothing around us has changed. See what I'm saying? Because you allow those things, the process, for you to use your whole being. And it's interesting because we come across sports athletes that understand this. Like Pelé. Okay? It's not how many players are on the field. It's where your mentality and your vibration is, that shoots the goals in your life. It's when you're putting your whole self into it, like Bruce Lee said. And see, a lot of people look at this whole thing as just a thing. What about you? What about your dreams? What about your purpose, your journey, your path, your vibration inside of you? How you're utilizing that? How you're utilizing this person inside of you to overcome the challenges that you're facing off against on a simple day. See, that's the type of inspiration that drove me to want to help other people, was for your day to become lighter by the message that I share. Okay? I can go and communicate with yogis or salespeople or people on the street, or even go give a hug to someone in need. What really matters, my friends, is what are you doing to be you? To be who you are on the inside, to give yourself those self hugs, to smile inside. A lot of us, we try to fake it on the outside, but what about when it hits the inside to the point where it radiates outwards, where the whole entire being becomes uplifted, where the energy inside of you starts to vitalize, where your mentality starts to open up, where your purpose starts to become. And it's inside of ourselves that we pass through these challenges that are just asking you if you can focus to the point to gain the knowledge that already exists inside of you. And, I'm going to go ahead and pull up another one of Bruce Lee's quotes. Bruce Lee stated that I fight from the third person. When I am in a fight, I am in the third person. The reason why he said that was because he understood that the highest level of intelligence is observation. Okay? So this is how meditation works. I'm going to go ahead and break this down and talk about the whole self and the reason why doing your skills and your crafts and your abilities inside of yourself is so important. See, I don't just look at sitting down and doing breath work with full lotus as meditation. I look at the whole entire thing as meditation. Okay? Your mentality is a part of your energy. Your purpose is a part of your energy. And so when we're observing, meditation works like this. You first close your eyes, then you start breathing. Then you start getting into the chapters inside of yourself. Once you start breaking down the chapters, once you start getting to the pages, then you start working with your emotions, your fears, your things inside of you. And eventually you reach that place beyond that where the knowledge to overcome your own opinion is. When you do that, when you can see past your own opinion, you know you're in breath work. Okay? Until then, you're a baby in the world of meditation. All right? What we call meditation. Okay? So, as you progress, as you're going through these stages inside of yourself, your energy starts to have a purpose. And so, in the stage of uncertainty or unclarity lays the emotion. On the stage of energy lays observation. Okay? So, when Bruce Lee stated that he was viewing the fight from a third person, what he was saying is, I have observed so much that I have patience with myself. See, that is a high level code that he left there. Okay, it's a meaning beyond that meaning. That is the reason why I say focus beyond focus, knowledge beyond knowledge, discipline beyond discipline. Not the external discipline, the internal discipline. Not the external knowledge, the internal knowledge. Not the external being the internal. To become present within yourself is to be focused beyond focus. Knowledge beyond knowledge. Discipline beyond discipline. And you can go onto my Facebook, you can go into my Instagram where I've kept a lot of these meditation quotes that I have written after meditation sessions. You can view the things that I'm talking about. You can connect. You can subscribe on my YouTube channel, my podcasts, the different channels, and you will see the vibration is that. And each of us have that ability inside of ourselves and inside of our beings. See, my family didn't teach me meditation, okay? Though my father did meditation, my mother did meditation. She was in the ashram with the son of Yogi Bhajan. She was a student of Yogi Bhajan. My grandpa, my great-grandpa. Okay, I have generations that have been doing meditation before me. Okay, when I decided to come out and start teaching it, I stayed in darkness for more than 6 years. I didn't teach a single person meditation except for once to try to teach my wife for 6 years. You hearing what I'm saying? It wasn't until I started to get to the point where other people were wanting to learn from me. See, I was in a sauna and I'd walk from a sauna to a steam room and stay in the sauna for an hour and walk in a steam room and stay in there for an hour without even exiting. Okay, learn about the internal, the external, the inhale, the connection with the being, the connection with the focus, the disciplines that we have inside of ourselves. And welcome. I see all of you in there, and I really enjoy the conversations, and I enjoy the comments, and everybody who wants to get connected in here and getting in this network. If you go on Facebook, you could find my group, Motivation, Meditation, Inspiration, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter. You can pull me up on Spotify. You can pull me up on Google and all of the other podcasts just about. And so it's wonderful because in the community that is a part of that, there's this part that's seeking out peace, okay? And it's when we seek out that inside of ourselves that we want to inspire other people to follow their dreams. We want to inspire other people to be who they are on the inside, and we want to inspire other people to believe that it's possible for you to achieve the things inside of yourselves. If you want to be the best artist on the face of the planet, then your artwork has to get in front of people. I've been to the London Museum. I've seen Van Goghs. I've seen Cool Water. I've seen these paintings that, people talk about or read about in books. And what I've come to realization is that when you're willing to truly work with what you have, with your gifts, with your abilities inside of who you are, that your vibration can uplift other people. Your very being is meant to enjoy this journey. It's meant to enjoy this path. It's meant to be a part of who you are. And you are the hands and the feet. You are the mouthpieces out there when you become positive, when you put yourself in a place where, I'm sitting here and I remember when people would try to go sit in a sauna with me, and, I remember this guy, real strong guy. He was like 3-4. He's pretty much the biggest guy, 24-hour fitness in Balboa in San Diego, and I mean, like, literally just some. But you know what? Here's where it matters, in your mind, my friends. He went over and started saying, "Oh, that guy's full of it." So I'm sitting inside the sauna and I look at this guy and I say, "If you believe that, then let's sit inside the sauna. I can guarantee you that you're going to walk out before me." He looked at me and said, "You're stronger than me." You understand what I'm saying? Where do you put your mind? Where do you put your mentality? Where do you put your knowledge? See, other people are just trying to get strong. I was trying to survive me. I was in a place where I had been with a companion that had left me, that I was with for 8 years. I was married to somebody who went to Europe, just completely left. And I was sleeping in my van. I was doing meditation inside of the sauna. I was helping people out. And I came across my mantra. Okay, I would suggest you all to find some words for yourself that have a meaning. What drives you? And I found that when I help other people, and it opens up the ability for the universe to work through me. And I went to Paris, I went to London, I went to Portugal, and I went to Madrid, Spain. And that was Porto, Portugal, to be exact. And when we see past the challenges that we have, when we put our whole selves into it, then we have a chance to be something beautiful. But it's when we are not doing that we're throwing it away and searching for somebody else to do it for us. When we see the blessings of other people's stories and other people's journeys for them, that we become inspired ourselves. And so